Hey everyone, welcome back to another quick video. I was thinking recently, we've talked a lot about suspension settings in a few of my videos, and a little bit later you'll see where I'm at with my settings now with the 10 weight fork coil in the bike. But I thought it might be an interesting video just to talk about well, a couple of things really. What can a bike feel like if your suspension settings are not quite where you want them to be? How can you understand and feel what the bike's doing that might not be to your taste? So let's say you jump on any bike, right, and you start riding it, and it's either going to feel great and you're going to attack the corners nicely, it's going to handle the bumps nicely, or it's not. And if it's not, how do you go about making suspension changes that make a bike feel good for you? And that's something that comes with experience, of course, and trying different things. But I thought it might be a nice quick video where what we can do is, hey, look, I know where all my settings are now, where they feel good for me with this fork coil, and I'm quite happy, and I've recorded those settings. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go out on the bike, take you with me. I'm going to go take a few corners, then I'm going to stop and set my suspension in an abnormal way. So let's say I reduce all of my rebound damping such that the fork bounces harder at me, or I increase the compression damping so that there's no less, should I say, there's less give in the forks when I'm on the brakes, things like that. And we're just going to see if I can actually feel, that the bike's behaving badly, or is giving me less confidence in the bike, or whatever. Let's just go out, make some settings changes, and see what we can feel. And then that will give us an idea when you might be out on the bike and you feel those same things. You might start to get an understanding of, well, what do I need to change to make the bike feel like I want it to feel? So let's get out on the bike. I've got a new microphone, so hopefully that'll be a little bit clearer than my other one. We will see. But if this sounds like an interesting video to you, then stick around, find out. And if you can, please give the videos likes. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe, because it helps me and helps give me a bit of feedback and confidence that people are watching and enjoying this sort of stuff. Anyway, let's get out there and we'll talk about what we're going to do.
Okay, here we are at my little test ground, which is a little industrial estate right near my house. So this is with all the settings, as as I may or may not have showed you already, but these are the settings that I like, okay? So these are the settings that I've come to like. The bike is nice and stable. Can throw it at the scenery. Bike feels good. The bike is giving me confidence. It's giving me stability. And I'll just give you another run like this. On the ground. So that was knee down all the way around that right hander, and the previous one So yeah, bike is feeling very nice. Let's talk about it again. So, what am I feeling? Support on the brakes, stability off the brakes, holding the line, no instability there, nice and smooth. Throw it out the corner, I can use the gas in the corner to hold the line. Very nice. Okay. So my first attempt, I'm just going to park in here, hide away a little bit in this car park. So I think what I'd like to do is, so what I've found in my experience is Rebound really is one of the key aspects of your suspension settings. Compression is something that you're going to feel over the bumps, maybe a little bit under braking as well. Your when you're first applying the brakes, you might feel that it's if you haven't got enough compression damping, as soon as you go for those brakes, the bike's diving, the back end's unstable. You need that support there to not dive so quickly. So that one is a more forgiving aspect of the bike riding. Yes, you might not feel that support, but is it going to be a crazy problem for you in most scenarios? Probably not. Which is probably one of the reasons why mine is in the middle of the range. You know, it's doing its good job for now. I'm not on a track. I'm not pushing for the last 10th of a second. So we're going to ignore the compression for the moment. What I really want to talk about is the rebound here. So remember, I am 2 clicks out. So 1, 2, and then I feel the resistance. I'm sorry if you can't see this. I can't see what you're seeing. I'm just on my helmet. So that's all the way in. Let's go all the way out, which would mean a lack of rebound damping, which would effectively mean the forks are going to jump back at me a little harder. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15. So all the way out. We've got rebound damping all the way out. I'm going to change one variable at a time, and we'll just see if we can actually feel any difference or not. We might not feel it in this environment. Let's find out. Right. Yeah. So my immediate feeling just from that change is the bike now feels tail heavy, okay? The bike now feels like the front end is stiffer and wants to sit higher on its nose. So it's affecting my confidence with the bike. It's affecting how I'm feeling the bike. Corner entry is not too bad, in fairness, but mid-corner and that instant of going into the corner, the bike is not with me, it's not friendly. I just don't want to throw the bike in. Oh, yeah. So I could still get to the same lean angle, but I'm really pushing against my instinct. I don't want to lean it as far, you know what I mean? I don't know if you got what I was saying there, but the bike now feels like it's sat on the tail. I'm sorry if you can't see my hands and all this, but the bike now feels like it's sat on the tail and the nose is up, if you like. And the reason for that is that the forks are always wanting to come back at me. Even for the most, minor bump, it's pushing back against me, which is not a nice feeling. What you want to feel is the front end is gripping, it's into the tarmac, and that the bike is kind of level in that corner. And it's just not feeling that right now. That was an extreme example, of course, but if you are feeling something like that, that the nose is up against you and you'd rather feel more forward on that front tyre, which is going to give you confidence in that front tyre, maybe think about adding rebound damping, winding it in. Okay, so that was an interesting experiment. I'm gonna put it back to, well, let's just put it back to halfway in. So it was like 14 out, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 turns. So we're halfway-ish back in. Okay, so it's better. It is better. Spin this around, do another run on my favourite side. I like taking right-handers more than I do left. Yeah, better. Yeah, so already that feels nicer. Not perfect, but it already feels way nicer, got more confidence in it, and the bike is more level and with me again. Okay, all right, so this is all good fun, whether or not you like tinkering with your suspension settings. It is actually good fun. So 1, 2, well, I'm just going to wind it all the way in. La 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 la. Okay, so that's resistance. 1, 2. Okay, so while we're at it, that's back to normal. We'll be happy with that. So this is mid-range now, compression. Let's go all the way soft. So wind it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So that compression is all the way out. It's going to be softer. So that might incur some more dive on the brakes. And it might keep the front end, generally lower anyway. We'll see. Whoa, okay. Yep. I can feel that already. So, that was immediate, okay? What we felt then was, as I went to grab the brakes, and I purposely did it a little bit harder than my previous runs, but immediately the front dove quite hard and the back end gave me a twitch. The back end was, we'd bottomed out the forks very easily. Okay, so my standard setting is about 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do hope this camera is still running. I think it is. So that was immediate and obvious. What happened was the front dove quite hard, the back end lifted higher than it had been, which gave me less traction on the rear, and it wanted to wiggle a bit. So giving yourself some compression rebound helps to stop that front dive and keep that rear wheel in contact with the tarmac, keeping it stable. And you can play with that to your heart's content, you know, to find where your nice level of that truly is. Okay, I'm not going to go too in depth with the shock, mainly because the shock settings are something you're going to find more important winding on that throttle. Yes, holding the line through the corner as well, but it's a lot, you know, you're probably not going to feel that anywhere near as much as making changes to your front fork settings. We might cover that in another video, but I didn't want this video to be too long and everyone switch off halfway through. So let's focus on the front, okay? Preload is something really that you measure, okay? There's a very tried and tested method of you setting your preload to your weight, to the suspension springs, etc, etc. So I'll leave that to other videos on YouTube to explain, and go and look at those and make sure they're as close as you can get them to where you need them to be for you and your weight. That's very rider specific, and I don't need to go too far into that. Again, even once you've gone to those lengths to get them set right, you might feel you need more or less as you ride the bike. If it feels too hard, too soft, etc., you might be able to use that preload. But I don't want to go too in depth in this video and everyone get bored. So I thought that was an interesting video to make. I might be wrong and you might just not care, but hey, I've been having fun. I'm out on a sunny day ripping around these corners. Right, so these are settings of back to what they should be. I'm just going to go have some fun, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, so I'm back at the garage and I was just updating my notes on suspension settings. So this now is my note for, and it's good to keep notes on your phone. It's a good way to get back to check on your settings and make sure you've got a record of them. So I've just run through this now. I've been finding this to be a nice setup for my road street riding. It may develop over time still, but this is where I am now with the 10 weight forecoil. So if you haven't seen that video,
go back and look at my track preparation video, which talks about the fork oil. So we're now using a slightly thicker, or almost double the thickness of fork oil in these forks to help with the rebound control. So where are we now? And I'm just going to run through that with you. I've just done my checks, counted the clicks in. So this is where I'm at with my settings. So as you can see, the front rebound this side over here. The rebound is 2 clicks out from bottom. Compression is 8 clicks out, so that's kind of mid-range on the compression. Preload, I've got 4 of the indented rings visible. I count the indents, not the thick part, so each line, if you like. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the fork height now is 15 millimeters. So that's that distance to the top of the fork, not the cap, but the top of the fork. So 15 millimeters from yoke to there. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then the rear rebound is 1 full turn out from all the way in. And I'm now on step 3 of the preload. I needed a bit more. I think the shock has bedded in a little bit from when I first got it. So I just needed a bit of extra support from the shock. And just winding it up on that step there to position 3. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's in there somewhere. Turn the light on. There you go. So 1, 2, step 3. So that's where we are with that. So fork height, 15 millimeters. I've heard people talk about the R7 and the need to do that to help the bike hold the line in the corner, help with tipping, etc., etc. So I thought I'd give it a go. I am finding that it does flick into the corners a lot quicker. That can be something you need to get used to. And some people would say that you need steering dampers at that point because you're actually quickening up the steering, and that can cause tank slappers or the bars to go to the death wobble situation. So far I've not found any of that, but again, I haven't really been attacking anything just yet. So I'm just going to see how we get on with that. But it is nice to have a flickable bike, and so I'm good for the moment. So those are my settings as they are with the 10 weight fork oil.